Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you Jagdsauce versus JMWW2 in round 3 of the second community patch tournament. Today we are going to be seeing Sainte-Mère-Église, and on the Allied side Jagdsauce has chosen the 2nd Armoured French, and on the Axis side JM has chosen the 1st SS-Panzer. So as always, this is played on the Community Balance mod. Make sure to check out the link in the description for all of the changes. Let's talk about these divisions. The 2nd Armoured, they have been nerfed quite a bit. It's more to do with their early game power. The M8 Spies, for example, have been increased from 85 points to 90 points to make them a little less cost efficient. But a significant nerf has been to the Spitfires. Now in Phase A with the 2nd Armoured, it was a strategy that you could use whereby you brought in a bunch of the Spitfires and used them much like the Hurricanes with the 1st Panzer, where you'd strafe a lot of units early on and then surrender them. They've removed a lot of that capability by removing a pack of the Spitfire Mark 9s from Phase A, and they've also increased the price of them. So now you can only get 2 in Phase A, and they cost 5 points more each. So that's going to remove some of that capability that the French used to have. Moving into Phase B, they have removed the veterancy from the M4A2s, but they've increased the availability on those cards from 2 to 3. So you get more of them, but less veterancy, which I guess kind of takes away a little bit of the power spike that the French would have moving into Phase B. The Smoke Bomber, though, this is an interesting buff to the division, has been decreased in price. So the Smoke Bomber used to cost 120 points, which is why nobody used it. And now it only costs 80 points. And you can now get 3 on a card as opposed to 2. I really like this change because it's going to create some very inventive playstyles when it comes to the 2nd Armoured, where you might have a little less of a power spike in the early to mid game now. You can use those smokes to make sort of interesting plays with some of your weaker units, like the Stuarts, for example, and just sort of use it to cover your infantry play. Just general things like that that could be really, really interesting. Maybe smoke bomb a AT gun in the distance and then push on whilst it's covered, for example. These sort of things can be done by a quick response smoke like a bomber. So that's really cool. And I'm looking forward to see if Jagdsauce actually utilizes that in this game. As for JM, well, he's using the 1st SS, so let's talk about a few of those changes. There has been quite a lot done to the 1st SS, so I'll try and get through it nice and quick. The Volksdeutsche have been increased from 25 points to 30 points. They were very cost-efficient squads. The only difference being between them and Panzergrenz is that they are disheartened, more or less. They've reduced the Phase C Volksdeutsche availability from 8 per card to 6 per card. So that sort of removes some of their late game power that they used to have, or at least that like late game infantry availability that could solidify themselves in a game. They've removed one of the packs of Panther Gs from Phase B, so now you can only get 1 Panther G in Phase B, and it's had its veterancy removed, so again, no longer effective or as effective as it used to be. They've increased all of the Panther D costs to 250. They used to be 200 to make it the same as the other divisions because there wasn't really much reason for that change. But they have added 1 pack of 2 vet, Panther Gs in Phase C to sort of drive home the late game nature of the division. Panzerjägerstück has been increased from 110 points to 120 points. They've removed veterancy from the Focke-Wulfs in Phase A and the SDKFZ 257, which is the mortar. And they've also made some changes to the amount of Gepards you can get in. So with all of that, let's have a look at what's going on in the game. So early engagements in the mid, we see a unit of Nueva here with the M5A1. There's going to be some Gruppe Spy to provide the recon in the town, as well as a bazooka. There's also the WC-52 with the Pioneer squad that can definitely rip to shreds these Volksdeutsche at close range, or at least burn to death the Volksdeutsche. There is a Pioneer Führer though that may be able to provide its HE grenade to help out a little bit. Voltages in the bottom side of the town. On the bottom it's going to be 2 half-tracks with the voltages, and a bazooka on the very bottom side to try and cover off this little road that can be used to sort of fast move into this bottom side. On the top side, Bazooka does manage to get the better of a 2-3-2. And there was a Jeep here that unloaded some group of Spay. That's just holding the front line at the moment. But the Volksdeutsche might be able to take that out. So going to have to be careful, Jagdsauce, so he doesn't relinquish too much ground on the top. But definitely making a lot of ground in the middle. As you can see, those Pioneers moving forwards. They managed to flame out the Pioneer Führer. But the Pioneer Führer did throw their grenade. I wonder what that actually hits, because it hasn't hit the Pioneers. Either way, the Volksdeutsche, they're doing a runner. The Pioneer Führer, probably not going to be there for much longer. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Voltage is just put on to return fire to maintain the ground, whilst the M10 comes down to the bottom side to cover this off. So Jagdsauce just taking control of the town, but JM actually with the lead with the +1, since he has the flanks covered for now. The Stug 3 is making a push forwards. It's in a bit of an awkward position though, since it's behind this tree line. Can't really cover the advance of the Pioneer Führer very well. The Pioneer Führer do manage to get the grenade onto the Voltages, but since they were out in the open and not in cover, the Voltages are still going to win that engagement. Nice job by these Volksdeutsche to stop the advance of the WC-52, which was creating a bit of salient, and now we're going to be seeing a Guerilla and the Flammpanzer come in to try and get rid of some of this infantry. But contesting the town at this point I think is pretty futile early on for the First SS. What you probably want to do is wait until phase B, where you can bring in Pioneers and then put pressure back onto the town. But the Stug here does have range onto the M10, so that is something that the Stug can take advantage of. It does have that 6 base accuracy and the veterancy that the M10 does not. So at the 1000 meter range, the M10 is pretty likely to get outgunned by the Stug 3. Puma here does manage to get its gun on target on the M10. That can also find the kill and has the 2-star veterancy. So M10's going to be very careful. It took its sweet time turning its turret. So the Puma here could get the shot off. Can it find the kill? Will the M10 get there first? No, it will not. Shooter knockout. Puma has a good chance here to find the kill. Surprised the Stug 3 is not being utilized to combat this M10 at the same time. That would be a very good use of both of those units. In the town in the middle, we do see that the Flammpanzer was taken care of by the Bazooka, but did burn out the Pioneers in the process. On the top side, M8 Spy was brought in, has managed to help break back this top side where the Panzergrens were, and now the Flammpanzer also under threat. So the top side was combated very easily by Jagdsauce with this M8 Spy. On the bottom side, he's having a little bit more trouble. The M10 obviously under threat by the Puma and the Stug 3. But another Bazooka squad has been brought in, and it's only a matter of time really until the Bazooka gets a shot on target. The Puma won't be spotting that anytime soon until it's too late. Here we go. Will the Bazooka get the hit? JM manages to reverse, but will he be able to in time? The Bazooka actually misses the Stug 3. Jagdsauce going to be moving out of line of sight with the Bazooka to try and keep it alive. Volksdeutsche almost take it out. But what JM really needs to worry about now is this top and mid side. The town, completely under control of Jagdsauce. Not much point trying to push back onto that until phase B, because Volksdeutsche will lose out to things like Nueva and also the Pioneers. On the top side, this is potential for a little bit of a play. Bring in another Stug supported by a couple units of Volksdeutsche, and you can make a play across the open. And that's what I'd really like to see JM try and do, rather than commit more forces to the centre in a pretty futile attempt to take back the town. Now the Stug 3 here did manage to get away from the Bazooka. The Puma, I'm not entirely sure where it's going, if I'm honest. It looks like it's just kind of moving towards the town to potentially discover infantry that may be in these buildings, but at the moment, it's just kind of heading towards a Bazooka shot from the Voltages, and if that happens, well, this entire bottom side of the map is going to fall in favour of Jagdsauce, and it already is, as these units get surrounded. And that's pushing Jagdsauce to a +4 with the 75% territory lead. This is very, very bad for JM. Really needs another Stug for this top side. The Stug on the bottom side, I believe, was just taken out. Was that the AT gun? I believe it was. Yeah, the AT gun managed to find the kill. And, well, in the mid, M5A1 comes around the corner, takes out the Puma. as the aim time of those Pumas is not that great. On the top side here, the Grille actually managing to get a nice shot onto the Nueva. And the 232 is going to pick off these Jeeps nicely. But still, JM in a dire position. The only units he has on this map are 3 Voltigers, or 4 Volksdeutsche, sorry, the Grille and the 232. This is his entire force. There's nothing covering the bottom, there's nothing covering the top side, and Jagdsauce has done a really good job of just kind of cleaning up a lot of these units. But it also comes down to JM making the mistakes of not killing the M10 while he could. He definitely had the advantage down here with the Puma and the Stug. Could have easily found that kill if he had both of them on target. And I guess lack of recon as well didn't really help with that, because he didn't see the bazookas and he just got too close to the tree lines with those units, which allowed the bazookas to do their work. He also committed a lot of forces to this mid-road when it's not really necessary. Yes, you can hold at these buildings with maybe a Stug on the main road, but the Stugs, even though they have been nerfed in price, I think are still probably the best bet for controlling the top and bottom side of this map. Because although there are M10s available for Jagdsauce, it's not going to be able to do a terrible amount. Like an unvetted M10 is not like that great if you manage to maintain like the 1,000 meter range engagements. Of course, there can be AT guns brought in, but these AT guns don't have much veterancy either. And while the Grille and the 232 has gone down, JM's going to surrender, and that's job done. So a very, very short game indeed, but I did decide to cover every single game in this tournament, so there's that. Jagdsauce finding himself a win in the final round of the tournament. This is a Swiss-style tournament, so everybody plays in every round. There's no knockout, for example. So in the end, well, Jagdsauce ended up playing against JM, and it didn't work out so well for JM, unfortunately. But nice try. I do commend JM for giving it a go in this tournament. He's up against some very, very tough opponents. And this will give him some much needed practice. So, you know, props to JM for giving it a go. Jagdsauce, of course, does know his stuff. And with the second Armoured, even though it has been nerfed, didn't have to make much use of the Spitfires anyway. And only, I think, brought in one of the M8 Spies. So, you know, the nerfs didn't really affect the way he played the division. Maybe there needs to be more changes made to the second Armoured in the future, but this wouldn't necessarily be the best game to determine that. Either way, yeah, short and sweet game. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.